All right. Well, hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Amira Pollock. I'm the founder and CEO at Struct Club. And today we're getting together to take a tour in the Struct Club app, reviewing a variety of upgrades to our suite of editing tools. And these are officially going to be launching in the App Store on July 26th. But first, looking through our sign up list, we got some familiar faces, some newer members, welcome, some OGs, aka original gangsters, and a variety of studio owners and more managerial level folks, as well as instructors. Let's get down to it. Agenda today, intro and icebreaker, done. We'll go through the purpose of the upgrades, basically where we're coming from with this big drop of updates. Number three, the demo, your upgraded editing suite. This is what we're here for today. And then Q&A, ask us anything. So as you've got questions, I'm just going to ask, jot them down. And if we don't get to them through the demo, we'll get to them following the demo. Sound good?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Y'all know in group fitness land, there's only one answer, yes or yes, right? Purpose of upgrades. So every day, in app land and phone land, we're getting routine updates in our apps, OSs, so on and so forth. Now, with this particular update, we're obviously letting out the news with far more advanced notice than usual to the membership. And why is that? First off, the main area that our data shows that most members spend the most time in the app, of course, is creating, editing, and crafting your masterpieces. And even though our testing data shows that so far it's feeling simpler, more intuitive to navigate, it's easier, it's faster, the editing suite, for those of you who have been with us for a long time, still it's undergoing the biggest visual change we've made to it to date. And so we want to give everybody enough time to play around, get familiar, feel good. Second of all, it's going to look pretty simple, but it does bundle in a lot of wish list items that some of you and many of the community members have voiced to us all in one go. And the changes just affect that core class creation editing process, just making sure that everybody has enough time to feel acclimated with it and feel good about it. If you haven't downloaded the beta yet and you want to right now and click through with us as we go through it together, here's just a quick flash of the QR code. It's going to take you to Test Flight, which is Apple's app for downloading beta versions that are not in the App Store. Getting into the big picture of what we're aiming to do. Who in here knows and can drop into the chat, what is our Struck Club mascot about?
Well, I know it's a wolf, right?
That's right.
Obviously, like wolves are in pack, and our clubs and our members that we're kind of all like a little family.
Boom, love it. I see John typed in there leading the pack. That's
Oh,
precisely
there we go.
right. And I got a little more extra special background around our wolf mascot. Did you know that the Struck Club wolf is actually composed of three equilateral glyphs? And the glyphs represent really what our vision as a product and platform for where we aspire to take you is. They are explore, combine, and express. And so when you put it together, you get the wolf. And so, just directly from me to you, I just want to share with you what we're aiming for here. Anytime we're doing something with a product, it should support your exploration. It should support your ability to combine ideas, combine power with the community. And particularly in this editing suite, express yourself and in class enable you to really express yourself as a coach, as a leader of the pack. So anything that you see in here as we dive into a variety of buttons and features and sections, just please feel free to jot down like feedback, ideas, let us know when we're going in the right direction. We do take everything down and we do put it on our roadmap. And I can't promise you that all of the things will be published tomorrow as updates, but we do document and put into our roadmap everything that our membership brings to us. Last thing before we get into the demo, a lot of companies have different frameworks. Software companies that I've been at personally, just they make decisions about product and direction and road mapping in different ways. So here's how we do it. Struck Club product decisions really have three core inputs. vision as a brand for you as an instructor, your vision in your product, like that's a critical input, of course. Number two, at the bottom left, best practices. We're not going to reinvent the wheel on great stuff that works already, and conventions that you're familiar with. When it comes to things like product reliability, of course, there's best practice in there that we're going to weave and prioritizing your experience with the app. But most of all, most importantly of all, is this foundational pillar at the bottom right, community voices, your voices. When it comes to feature updates and upgrades as we're rolling stuff out, that's really a driving force, both qualitative and quantitative feedback in there. Again, just like a bit of context around how we come to product decisions. And if you don't see something in there that you're like, hey, Struct Club, you're forgetting this, let us know, keep us accountable, and keep us going in the right direction. All right, we're going to get into the demo next. And I'm going to let you know, we've been testing this stuff all throughout the spring internally, testing it in our own editing processes, prepping classes as a team, in our own teaching, personally getting it to the point, even just personally, where I'm like, I do not want to go back to the prior version. I have to stay here and go forward. So I'm going to go ahead and open my screen, share it. We're going to get into it. So editing view, we're going to walk through a variety of the components in here. So here's what we've done, new editing suite view, a lot of similar components and some things that are different. So first of all, we've got our timeline. This is relatively consistent. And the top bar of our timeline represents where we're going to be editing, adding moves and cues into the timeline. That bottom bar is our song bar. So we've retained this with a couple of little changes. We've created this really kind of like gradient as I scroll through here to give a sense of time having gone by, or putting the BPM into here to be able to really compress this component and compress the player tools with the music so that we create room for a new area that is going to be the editing portion of editing, adding moves and cues right into keeping you in the timeline. This enables us, like the big picture here is to keep you in that creative zone while you're listening to the music, and utilizing the screen real estate as efficiently and effectively to do that, as well as, and we'll get into it and you'll see flexibility around what you're editing when, as you hear the just inspiration come up in the music, and while you're figuring out certain things before others. So flexibility, seamlessness is kind of the idea here. I'm going to close up this editing card for a second. So our player tools, kind of moving from top to bottom, our player tools are as usual. You got the song bar here, time elapsed, song total length, the player skip to prior song, skip to the next song, play. Our add mark button, where we're adding, hitting where on the playhead we're at to split the timeline, the editing timeline into segments, is now here. It's a bit brighter, it's a bit bolder, it's in line with the playing tools. And as I touch it, I'm just going to touch it right now. You're going to see, boom, our mark or timeline split come back. Same thing. And then when you touch it, the menu for deleting is now over here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. So just, where it is, we've compressed it to keep you in the timeline with the editing card. It's just right here. Basically was the playlist button before here. We put a tab for it here. So now you've got the timeline tab and the playlist tab. I'm going to toggle back and forth really quick. Playlist, you see this playlist view, going back into the timeline view. So all that stuff is still here, just in slightly different places. So we're going to go ahead and sort of the big thing that's calling us here right in the center is to be able to add those moves and cues. I'm going to open back up our editing card. And by default, just so you know, this is going to be open when you jump into the app. It's going to stay open. And if you want, and you're like, I just want to clear this out for a second, you can always take this button up here pop it close, pop it open. Now we've split up the editing view into two areas, quick cues and notes. So you've got this toggle back and forth, open notes, add some notes as much as you want, and toggle back quick cues here. It's going to call on you to add, there's a particular order here, but you should feel welcome to just add notes, cues, edit any of these things in any order that you want. The first calling here is to add a move. When I tap on it, we're going to be able to enter a name of that title in the same way that we were able to before. So what's going to come up first, just so you know the logic of this and these suggestions, are a personalized sorting of your own library in order of how often, just the volume that you've used each of those with. So you can see for me personally in my library here, clearly I've used recovery the most. Sprint is the next frequent, flat road is the next frequent, hill climb is the next frequent. We're at the beginning of class and I'm going to elect, I think we're going to be warming up here. So I'm going to hit W. It's going to put suggestions of moves that we've used before. This works the same as it did before. So I'm going to put in, I'm going to just pick warm up for now. Warm up. And so I mentioned this logic because now as I move into the second segment, I'm going to hit this, create a second segment here, and then go into add moves and cues. Now, the next thing that pops up is actually going to be for subsequent moves in this session as I'm editing. It's going to pull up the stuff that I have used in this session. So now warm up comes up first. The idea here being that most songs that we use in group fitness, there's kind of like a verse, bridge, chorus structure, or verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And so we want the content to be relevant and as just quickly accessible to you as possible based on what it is that you're doing. So say like round 1, round 2, round 3, the moves that you've used will recur. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this bit out, and we're gonna move on to some of the other bits that you can edit. I'm going to go back to this warm up segment. Intensity. A lot of you know we have a couple intensity settings. I'm going to start with really what most of our members use. Easy and just touch it, moderate, touch it, hard, touch it all out. So you could just tap to change it. You actually don't have to put in anything at all. You just put in what you want. And you can also, I'm going to move into the second segment. If you're listening to the song, you're like, oh, this part of the song is building. I don't really know what we're going to do yet, but I do know that it's moving from, in this first section, easy to a bit more of a moderate intensity. You can go ahead and just change the intensity based on how you're feeling before you decide what moves or exercises should be in there or any other cues. As usual, I'm going to move back into the warm-up segment. We've got an auto readout of the BPM of the song. If it's over 130, what the app does is just naturally cut that in half. It's not going to change the tempo of the song. Anything that you put in here, which by the way, you can edit, truly you can put in anything that you want, put in 100. It's not going to change the tempo of the song. It's just going to change the display of what you're seeing play back to you in class. And what this bottom arrow is going to do is just quickly cut it in half, do that math for you. The up button is going to just quickly do auto math to double it. So I'm going to just toggle back, forth, and back and forth just to demonstrate it. And then finally here is just an auto calculation of the duration of the segment that we're in based on the start timestamp. Here it would be, I'm going to scroll to the beginning, 0, 0, 0. It's the very start, all the way to this mark. Where that's at, it's 31 seconds. Same as before, you don't have to do the timestamp math. I'm going to move into our notes here. Again, same as before, you can type in anything. You can put in emojis. Give people a hug, little party emoji, ta-da, done. It's going to play back to you in class as normal. And you can quickly toggle just back and forth again. So that is the editing card. Now that we've covered the editing area, the selection of what it is that we're editing, now we have two options. So I'm going to go down here and show kind of this purple outline. This is a new feature. What this means for the segment is when it's outlined in purple, it is whatever the playhead here is under. So I'm not going to do anything except for scroll right now and watch what happens. I'm going to scroll over to the right. I haven't tapped or touched anything. Whatever the playhead is over is highlighted. I'm going to create a couple more segments here and scroll back and forth here with the purple outline. And you're going to see that whatever the playhead is over is automatically selected. So what that does is when you're playing through the song, you add a mark. It's going to go ahead, if you're using the purple selection, it's going to go ahead and just open up the editing area for whatever it is the playhead is over automatically. So the editing area is now moving with you as you're listening to the song automatically. Now, maybe that's not what you want to do. Maybe you're in here and you're like, wow, the song has built up to this high point, and now I know what I actually wanted to add over here in context of the song. Great. The second selection option, I'm going to tap on this, is the teal selection. This means whatever it is that you've tapped on within the view, I can tap here, I can tap here, 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 or here. And that's what's going to be reflected in the editing area. So you can be listening over here and then decide, actually, now I know what I want to edit here. So you're not constrained to that moment of wherever it is the playhead is. Kind of like delete these and we can like listen through together. So I'm gonna hit play. We can listen through. Anybody want to count off? 3, 2, 1. I think this starts to heat up a little bit. Actually, that's static. I'm gonna decide, take this mark out, and then maybe put one in. 3, 2, 1. All right, that's a lot chiller. And now I've decided over here, I actually want to stand up. 3, 2, 1. All right, maybe I want to put people in a hard run. 3, 2, 1. Pop. It stays the same. I want to delete this. So you can do this really quickly, right? And you're still listening to this song. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pop. Pause that. So here you can see we've done a variety of different like edits, made decisions, and marked this in different ways without just making the decision that we needed to make in that moment. And we can go back, scan through really quickly and see what we haven't edited in there and go ahead, go back and edit it, whether it's like notes, those cues, or the quicker cues. I'm just going to do one more thing here. The duration. One of the things that I really like that this enables, I'm going to close this up for a second, is I'm going to pick the purple select, and we're going to go into a song that's actually complete. Now, one of the things that maybe you've noticed that we really love to do in our Explore template classes is to give agendas ahead, and a lot of you do this already, but kind of a bigger picture roadmap analysis of the songs and the durations of intervals to give people, even not just in the song context, but in the context of maybe like a couple songs ahead or this quarter of the class. Maybe there's like one long stretch of a segment or a stage of the class based on an analysis of the lengths of the intervals and where they're going. So we can see here, this one is about 20 seconds long. This hot point is 20 seconds long, 20 seconds long. And then at another point coming up, ooh, we move into 30 seconds. And then at another point coming up, we drop it back down to 25. So with that, you can just kind of, through the purple outline, just really quickly scan and see, all right, where are we going with the times in this segment? So up front, you can let people know in your notes. Great. We got 4 big runs coming up ahead. It goes from 20, 20, 20 to 30. We add 10 seconds and then we bring it back down somewhere in the middle. We hit it at 25. So that scanning, that quick scanning, is just going to enable us to more quickly kind of get a sense of like, all right, structurally, where it is that we're going, so we can help to prepare people for the journey. Just one of the things that this purple outline especially really helps to enable. All right. One more final stretch of this demo is the playlist view. Now, when you jump into this playlist view, you're just going to see the delete button for every track, and you're going to see the movable hamburgers here. It's just going to be visually apparent. The same stuff around being able to copy and paste tracks with all of the cues that you've put is the same. Delete is going to take you to the same place. So again, just toggling through timeline, view, playlist view. And that's it. Big idea. We want this to be more seamless, faster, smoother, easier editing, fewer clicks to get done what you want to get done. Stay within the context of the timeline. Decide one part of a segment at a time without being required to figure out the move, headline, cue first. Jump around in the timeline fluidly while the music is playing, and just to do things faster.